This is Marina Kukar in the studio. From morning until afternoon for almost 7 hours straight, Odesa and the region were under a massive drone attack. Shaheds were coming from all directions. We'll ask Olha Dunska about the consequences of the attack. She is with us live. Olya, what is known at this time? How serious is the destruction?
Hello, Marina. Indeed, the attack lasted almost 7 hours. Enemy drones attacked, first of all, coming in from different directions and in several waves with almost no respite. The fact is that as a result of the enemy drone attack, there were hits and damage at as many as 10 locations. These include administrative buildings and residential houses. One of these drones fell right in the middle of a children's playground. Another hit a cottage town. Another one landed. One hit an unfinished building. Another damaged a hotel. Overall, as a result of the enemy's daytime attack, 2 people were injured. One of them, a 37-year-old man, was taken to the hospital. At that moment, he happened to be in a garage cooperative where the enemy drone fell and a fire broke out. Please listen.
Shrapnel wounds to the upper third of the right thigh. Initial surgical treatment was performed. The patient remains hospitalized in the surgical department in stable condition for further surgical procedures. What will those procedures involve? This includes the removal of metal fragments under X-ray guidance. This will be done at a later stage.
Well, it came flying in and the car it flashed brightly and then suddenly exploded with a loud noise. Today, I personally saw 3 Shaheds. One of them flew right over there, landed quietly by a fence, hid itself very well, and that was it. It was a remarkable and unforgettable sight to witness firsthand.
This was preceded by a massive attack on Odesa, as a result of which more than 30 houses were damaged, 2 in particular. Completely destroyed, administrative buildings, a dance studio, and a service station were also damaged and cars were smashed. 5 people were injured, including a family, a 49-year-old mother and her 16-year-old son. They are currently in the burn unit's intensive care. In particular, the boy has burns covering 5% of his body, while his mother's condition is much worse. Doctors are fighting for her life because she has burns to her upper respiratory tract, and the percentage of burns is as high as 65%. A 70-year-old man also sought medical attention at the hospital. He was also injured as a result of the Shahed drone attack. Doctors also provided assistance to 2 more people who were then released for outpatient treatment. We spoke with one of them. Let's listen to what they had to say.
I was lying down when the window frame along with the glass fell on me. I was injured. They took me to the hospital and checked me over. After that, I got up. The whole bed was covered in glass. You try to understand if you're still alive. It's unclear. It's scary.
Right now, utility workers are on site at the scene of the attack, and they'll continue working tomorrow, documenting the damage and distributing the most urgently needed building materials. You can apply for compensation at your local district administration office.
Thank you, Olya. Olya Dunska from Odesa, the city and the region. Throughout the night, morning, and day, Russian drones attacked continuously. And new details have emerged about the explosion in Odessa. An object that was among a visitor's personal belongings exploded at the TCC. The detonation occurred while the man was talking to employees of the recruitment center. A serviceman was wounded and the visitor was killed, according to reports. At the Odesa Regional Recruitment Center, police are now trying to determine exactly what kind of explosive device caused the tragedy. Volodymyr Zelenskyy addressed the Ukrainian people regarding the U.S. peace plan for Ukraine. In his address, the president emphasized that our country is facing one of its toughest choices, either the complex 28 points of the proposed document or the harshest winter and further risks the coming week. The president's team and diplomats will be working diligently to find solutions and respond to the proposals from our American partners to ensure that the interests of Ukrainians and the preservation of our sovereignty are taken into account.
Around the clock, I will fight to make sure that at least 2 points are not omitted from the entire plan. These are the dignity and freedom of Ukrainians, because everything else is built upon them. Our sovereignty, our independence, our land, our people, and the Ukrainian future. We will and must do everything so that, as a result, the war comes to an end. and so that it is not the end of Ukraine, the end of Europe, or of global peace.
President Volodymyr Zelenskyy addressed the Ukrainian people after a phone conversation with the leaders of France, Germany, and the United Kingdom, during which they discussed the US peace plan. According to the president, it must be a plan that ensures a truly just peace. Currently, joint work is underway on the key principles. Meanwhile, in a joint statement, Macron, Merz, and Starmer agree that the current front line in Ukraine should serve as the starting point for territorial discussions.
The line of contact is the starting point for understanding, and the armed forces of Ukraine must remain capable of effectively defending Ukraine's sovereignty. The leaders agreed that any agreement concerning European states, the EU or NATO, would require the consent of European partners or the consensus of allies respectively. Joint statement by the leaders of France, Germany, and the United Kingdom. And
according to our sources, the phone conversation has just concluded between President Volodymyr Zelenskyy and US Vice President J.D. Vance. Details will follow. There is no encirclement of our units in the Huliaipol sector of the front, according to the command of the Southern Defense Forces. The enemy is constantly firing at our troops. Over the past day, near Yablukov and Rivnopilya, Ukrainian defenders repelled 10 enemy attacks. To hold the position in this direction, reinforcements from assault units have been deployed.
At the same time, information is spreading on social media claiming that certain units are surrounded by the enemy. There are also claims about the alleged presence of blocking detachments that are preventing our units from retreating. This information is not true and is clearly aimed at discrediting the military command. The situation in this direction is indeed difficult, but our fighters remain in contact, logistics are established, and the evacuation of the wounded is being carried out. At the same time, our units fighting in this area are being reinforced by assault units. Statement of the Defense Forces of Southern Ukraine.
Ukrainian fighters are not encircled. And in Kupiansk, this was stated by the head of communications of the Joint Forces Group, Viktor Trigubov, during the National Marathon broadcast. There really are Russians in the city, about 40 of them. They are scattered across the northern districts and, moreover, are completely cut off from supplies. The only way to get anything to them is by drone drops. But our drone operators see everything and immediately strike those locations.
Flushing them out of there is a very difficult task, because all of Kupiansk is one big kill zone, let alone the urban areas. That's why storming these basements, especially when Russian drones are also hunting overhead, is a mission for the brave. The numbers, though slowly, are decreasing.
The General Staff has updated the information on the situation at the front. There are currently 28 battles ongoing there, almost half. In the Pokrovsk direction, where the occupiers attacked 41 times, our troops have already repelled 30 assaults. Fighting is also continuing now in the Kostiantynivka and Oleksandrivka sectors. Our defenders are also holding back the Russians on the Lyman and Slovyansk sections of the front. In the northern Slobozhansky and Kursk directions, there were 10 enemy attacks today. In the Orikhiv direction, the armed forces of Ukraine repelled 6 enemy assaults. Ukrainian reconnaissance drones destroyed a Russian Ka-27 helicopter and expensive enemy air defense systems in temporarily occupied Crimea. The HIUR showed footage of the operation by the Ghosts. During the special operation, our operators launched drones that successfully evaded an enemy missile and then struck a helicopter and 4 radar stations. The Ministry of Energy denied information about selling electricity abroad during mass outages. They explained that due to the unified energy system with Europe, technical flows occur between the networks. However, the hourly balance is always close to zero. As much as goes abroad, the same amount immediately returns to Ukraine. The Ministry of Energy emphasized that the electricity produced by Ukrainian nuclear, hydro, thermal power plants and combined heat and power plants is used exclusively for domestic consumption. In the capital, the duration of power outages has been slightly reduced. The schedules that Kyiv residents receive in digital apps were changed today. Next, we'll talk about the experience of residents in one of the capital's apartment buildings powered by solar panels. The system has been operating for over a year now. Where did they get the money to install it, and what needs can its capacity cover? Anastasia Tereshchuk found out.
This is our electrical panel room where all the equipment for the solar station is located. Here you can see, as I like to say, the heart of this building. These are the batteries and inverters.
Mr. Valeri is showing us what makes the building practically autonomous during power outages.
The inverter capacity is 36 kilowatts and the total battery capacity is 90 kilowatts.
The system has been operating here for over a year. The cost is over 3 million hryvnias. The funds were borrowed from the city.
Also, in that same year, we applied to the city's 70-30 energy efficiency program. And this year, with funds from the city of Kiev, the solar station was expanded.
For the residents of the building, it costs 2 hryvnias per square meter per month. So, for example, for a 43 square meter apartment, it comes out to 86 hryvnias. The amount is small, residents say, but the comfort has increased many times over.
They broke the pipes. We were left without water, without heating, without cold or hot water, without heating.
Now we'll show you how all of this works.
We have lights on every floor. We have lights on the stairs. On the first floor, we have parcel lockers and a coffee maker, a coffee machine for the residents, which can also be used during power outages. We also have outlets available that the residents use.
They're convenient. We use them to charge kettles, phones.
Next, we check as well. For example, today in this building, there will be no electricity for about 8 hours, but the elevator is still working here. There is cold and hot water on every floor. The surveillance cameras and the intercom are working. And that's not all.
To save electricity, we installed a motion sensor. When we approach the apartment, the light turns on. It's very convenient and saves a significant amount of electricity.
Here we are, up on the roof, right next to the solar panels. There are more than 100 of them here, and they help power a 17-story building. The most efficient panels work best in sunny weather. Right now, the building is mainly powered by batteries that charge when there is sunlight. Thank you. But if the sun comes out in the capital, the batteries help as well.
Compared to the summer period, it's much lower. It's about 10%, but even when there's no sun and there's some ultraviolet, they still catch a bit of it.
Thanks to the whole system, this apartment building can operate autonomously for about 8 hours. Anastasia Tereshchuk, Konstantin Tarinok, My Ukraine, Marathon, United News.
Today, Ukraine celebrates the Day of Dignity and Freedom in honor of two revolutions. In 2004, Ukrainians took to Independence Square to defend their right to fair elections, and 9 years later, to stand up for a European future. February 2014 went down in history for the mass shootings of activists.